Inheritance is an other metagame available for play on Pokémon Showdown under the Other Metagame tab. Within the tier, any unbanned Pokémon can in a sense inherit from another unbanned Pokémon, taking both their move pool as well as ability. This makes some drastic changes in the tier, such as Gudra Hizui being top tier, as it can inherit from Cyclozar to take Regenerator, Rapid Spin, and U-Turn, turning Gudra Hizui into an incredible support user that sticks around for the vast majority of a match. Inheritance in general is a good way to see OU threats have their purposes changed, be it by adding a new utility move to them, or an offensive tool that allows for them to become a proper sweeper. A good example of this is Gholdengo, who tends to inherit from either Lati twins as well as Bramblin, in which inheriting from Latios or Latios provides Gholdengo with the ability Levitate, keeping it safe from super effective ground type attacks, as well as Flip Turn for slow pivoting. But it also allows Gholdengo to be a dangerous setup abuser with Calm Mind and Recover, which can make Gholdengo incredibly hard to break through. But what I find more interesting is its inheritance from Bramblin, which transforms Gholdengo into a hazard stacker with access to Strength Sap, Rapid Spin, Spikes, and retaining its access to a special Ghost Stab through Bramblin's access to Shadow Ball. But recently, Alolan Muk has made an appearance during the OMPL as a great team supporter that even ended up winning the match. So what did it abuse to do so? Well, Alolan Muk actually is a fairly common mon within the tier. While not always the best pick within the metagame, it retains itself at a very respectable B- tier on the viability charts, which is higher than OU and Uber threats such as Kingambit and Baxcalibur. This comes as a shock to many though, given its low placement in the standard Scarlet and Violet tiering system, in which it finds itself all the way down in NU. So what happens in Inheritance? Well, before we get to that, I'd like to ask you to subscribe, as only 7.8% of my audience is subscribed, and it greatly helps me out. Thank you, and now on with the video. Well, Alolan Muk isn't really all that bad in standard Scarlet and Violet, only having a few specific problems, but it definitely has some good parts that give it some merit in a team builder. Most specifically of which is its Poison Dark typing, which stands as one of the few typings to be exclusively better than one of their typings just alone, with Dark erasing the Psychic weakness from Poison, and Poison clearing the Bug and Fairy weaknesses from Dark. The type pairing only finds itself weak to Ground, and neutral to all other type attacks. This proves fairly incredible alongside Alolan Muk's slightly above average defensive stat spread, with a 105 HP stat, 75 defense, and 100 special defense. Alolan Muk can stand as a fairly solid special wall, as well as a fairly solid physical one with some investment. Alolan Muk tends to inherit from 3 kinds of Pokemon specifically, being Unaware, Regenerator, and Levitate Pokemon. Unaware Pokemon, most commonly being Clodsire, helps Alolan Muk block setup sweepers from clearing through its team, and alongside its newfound access to Recover and keeping Curse and a Poison Stab due to Clodsire's move pool, Alolan Muk can actually be a fairly tough to break through Unaware wall that greatly threatens to set up and potentially even sweep with Earthquake and Poison Jab. Regenerator is also a fairly common set, typically inheriting from Mienshao or Cyclozar. Regenerator provides Alolan Muk with an incredible amount of longevity in a match, and alongside Mienshao, Alolan Muk can prove as a very good way to hinder or downright kill hazard stackers. With Taunt, Knockoff, Ice Spinner, and U-Turn, Alolan Muk can be very annoying, and stick around for far longer than desired in a match. On the other hand, it can also choose to take from Cyclozar. Though less common, it provides it the ability to spin off hazards, as well as retain access to Knockoff and still U-Turn out for healing when needed. But the set I find most interesting personally is its Levitate set, which tends to take from a very forgotten Pokemon, but one that vastly changes the inheritance tier and how it's played by its presence, Chimecho. Alolan Muk inheriting from Chimecho is actually the set that recently won an OMPL match, in which it abused Levitate to hide from ground type attacks and be a nuisance to break through, while using Knockoff and Heal Bell to remove the enemy team's items and heal its own team from status. This proved very powerful too, as very moves could hit Alolan Muk hard enough it could stick around for a very long time, which within the match blocked its opponent's Skeledirge Gholdengo, who was attempting to spread status in the hopes of using Hex and Torch Song for an endgame sweep from setting up. But why use Chimecho and not another Levitate user such as Latios or Latias? Well, that's fairly self-explanatory actually. Chimecho, while it retains access to many moves that Latios and Latias has, also has access to Knockoff and Curse, which allows for physical attackers to abuse it as well for incredible use and longevity. This difference is actually what won the player the match in fact, as they were able to set up Curse and heal with Recover in the face of a Knockoff Banded Roaring Moon, which otherwise could have been able to kill. Alolan Muk in general is a great way to defeat status spreading teams which thrive within the tier, Since many Pokemon now, such as Primarina, get access to incredible moves like Toxic Spikes from inheriting from Galarian Weezing, status teams are far more common, especially ones relying on Will-O-Wisp, Thunderwave, and Toxic Spikes. Its assistance against these teams is further boosted by its access to Knockoff, which even if it doesn't threaten good damage, always threatens to remove an opponent's item, which can be arguably worse, especially for Mons inheriting from other Mons such as Clefable or Tauros, to abuse Magic Guard or Sheer Force alongside a Life Orb. This means a lot more than it sounds like it does though, as it means that a lot of Pokemon are quite scared of swapping into it even if they can defeat it, as they don't want to lose an item that can remove their purpose on a team, or weaken them for a wall they need to break later. Alolan Muk is also incredible due to its capability of mind games within a match. Since you don't know who your opponent's Mon is inheriting from until it comes out, you can feign an opponent out of setting up as they may think you have an unaware Muk in the back, only to reveal it as a Levitate Heal Bell Muk later, and remove any statuses they may have been attempting to spread in the meantime. On top of this, it can also prove very annoying to status teams due to its typing, as many status teams rely on prankster Mons like Illumi's Iron Hands to spread status, which Muk can block due to its typing blocking prankster, and either set up in their face with Curse or knock off an incoming Mon's item. This also made Alolan Muk one of the few Mons capable of weakening, even if not defeating, a Kieran, as it was capable of either spreading Thunder Wave onto it to paralyze it, or knock off its Life Orb to reduce its damage output, making it far more bearable even if just by a bit. Overall, Alolan Muk is simply a very versatile and interesting Pokemon within a tier, and is a defined example of another metagame taking a bad or uninteresting Pokemon, and providing it with a new niche, much like Sylveon and Stabmons, which I covered last week. Rarely though is it to the point of Alolan Muk, who surpasses OU Mons like Kingambit, and even Uber Mons like Baxcalibur within the tier, who both struggle for their own selective reasoning. Kingambit struggles within the tier due to the struggle of newfound walls, and Alolan Muk is actually a solid case as one of them, as Kingambit, no matter who it inherits from, struggles to break through Alolan Muk, be it as an unaware set or a levitate set, just due to its typing. Kingambit also doesn't appreciate many of the powerful inheritors in the tier, as very few carry benefits towards it, or both of its stabs, only really appreciating a low kick so it can be a decent revenge killer, but even then it's held back by a lack of steel stab and coverage. On the other hand, Baxcalibur struggles with very similar things, not having the appropriate tools to shatter through the incredible walls in the tier, while not having almost any desirable providers to get both of its stabs from, with its best option being Chimecho, who still struggles to support it as it lacks a dragon stab. Baxcalibur can though be a good offensive provider, as due to its ability, physical attackers taking from it lose the ability to be burned, and therefore neutered, making it good for Mons wanting to abuse its access to Dragon Dance. But for now, that's where I'll leave it. Thank you for watching, and let me know what you think of Inheritance or Muk down below, and I hope to see you all next time. Thank you.